Hi everyone, Catherine here. In this video, I wanted to share some tips for working with my Facebook group cover photo templates. I'm using Canva, but any editing software that lets you add layers and change transparency would allow you to do the same thing. So I'm going to start off by creating a design and using custom size. And remember that the size that we want for our Facebook group cover photo is 1640 wide by 856 tall. So I'm just going to create that design. Now, once we have our design ready, what I'm going to do is go to my uploads and I'm going to upload a couple of things. I'm going to upload the two templates. Now, they are downloadable from Google Drive. I've shared the link in the comments and in my tech help group. So I'm just going to add both of those at once. So there's a version to use when you have the group affiliation option turned on, and there's a version to use if you haven't turned that option on. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to just upload a stock photo so that we can see how this works with a photo. Okay, so while that photo is uploaded, I'm just going to go to Elements and put in a grid so that that photo acts as my main part of this graphic, or rather the background. Okay, so I'm just going to click that, and as you see, it's kind of filled my canvas with space for a photo. So now if I go back to upload, I can click and drag this on, and you see that it fills that canvas. Now if I double click on that, I can move that photo around so that I can position it. I don't particularly want to cut off that Stampin' Up logo, so let's position it so that that is off the canvas. Okay, and then I'm going to just click done. Okay, so now I'm going to start using the template without the group affiliation, and all I'm going to do is click that once. Now, that's there, kind of like as an extra layer over the top. Now if I click and pull these corners out, because it is also 1640 by 856, it's just going to cover my whole canvas, okay? And then this option up here, my transparency setting, if I take that down to about 50, you'll be able to see that I can see the photo position underneath, but I can also see enough of my template to know what goes where. Anything in this kind of uncovered area in the center is going to be visible on all devices. Okay, this gray section here, as I say here, there's a gradient that's applied on desktop, but that only partially obscures things. So you can still put content in this section. You just want to be aware that you want to check that it's readable once you've uploaded it, just in case that gradient interferes with the colors that you happen to have chosen. Okay, now remember that this central space that I've identified with this rounded square and this circle, this is where the group icon is taken from. So if you are searching for groups on Facebook, you end up with a list of search results, and to the left of the group name, you will get a little icon to represent the group. Now, this is generally taken as this crop from the center, unless you have what Facebook describes as a strong visual element in another place, in which case the crop might actually be taken from a different place in your design. So that's something that you will only actually be able to work out when you upload your cover to Facebook and then search for your group to see what comes up. Okay, so what you can do is add your design over the top. So maybe you want to add your group name in the center. Maybe you want to add, say, your host code either there or to the side. Okay, you can add all of your text elements. And then when you are done, what you want to do is then either take that transparency down to 0 to completely remove it, or what you can in fact do is just delete that layer. Okay, so you can just make sure that that layer is selected and click delete. Okay, and remember that if you are using the other template, so if you do have the group affiliation turned on, so that lets you identify the group as being run by a particular page or even by a particular person by identifying their personal Facebook profile. Okay, if you have that turned on, you want to use this template instead, because what that does is it puts this solid bar on desktop and it moves the gradient up slightly further. So you do just want to be aware of that. But the same thing you want to do is reduce that transparency so that you can see that photo underneath to know what you are playing with, what those safe areas are. Okay. Of course, if you do not want to use a photo at all, you can do this from a blank canvas. So I'm just going to delete these layers. Okay, so that would be my blank canvas 1640 by 856 on Canva again, and my steps would be almost the same. click to add that template, and then drag it out to fill that space. Okay, and then what you can do is just use Canva as normal to just add your text elements or your design elements to create your logo or your cover photo. Okay, whatever design you wanted. Now, the one way that this would be different is potentially if you've added a lot of elements onto this, you may find that you're obscuring more of the template than you want to. So remember that you can always use the position option. So I've got this selected, my text layer, and if I actually choose position and then click to send it backwards, okay, that places it behind my template layer. So again, what I would do is then use my transparency, okay, to allow me to see both that template as an overlay and then my content underneath, just to double check that I am not kind of putting things in those unsafe spaces that aren't going to be visible on all devices. The links to download those templates are in the description below. Don't forget to check out my Tech Help group on Facebook. I went over this template in depth in a Facebook Live, and there are also some useful design tips that might be helpful when you are creating your own Facebook group cover.